The Grand Council chamber of the Galactic Alliance gleamed with the soft blue glow of emergency lighting. Representatives from over 300 worlds sat in concentric rings around the central podium, their murmurs echoing through the vast space. Emergency session protocols had activated 2 hours earlier, summoning delegates from across 17 sectors to Navarra Prime, the neutral world that had hosted the Galactic Alliance headquarters for the past 7 centuries. Ambassador Riley Martinez of Earth strolled into the chamber at precisely 1422 Galactic Standard Time, 6 hours before the Corfac fleet would reach its destination. Unlike the other delegates who rushed in with datapads and communication devices clutched in their various appendages, Martinez carried only a simple, white ceramic mug of coffee. The Earth delegate's unhurried pace and relaxed demeanor contrasted sharply with the frantic energy that permeated the room. "Ambassador Martinez," called out High Counselor Zorthan, the 7-foot-tall, blue-scaled representative of the Taraxian Confederation. His voice boomed over the chamber's communication system. "How kind of you to join us at your leisure, while the rest of us prepare for interstellar war." Martinez offered a polite smile, taking a sip from the coffee mug before responding. "I believe in being properly caffeinated before emergency sessions. High Counselor, experience suggests they tend to run long." Several delegates shifted uncomfortably in their seats. The Earth ambassador's calm demeanor was either a sign of profound confidence or complete delusion. Given the circumstances, most suspected the latter. "Perhaps you haven't been briefed on the severity of the situation," said Delegate Tessara of the Meraki Union, her holographic form flickering slightly as she leaned forward. "The Corfac Empire has deployed 847 warships to your system. Their stated intention is to, and I quote their Supreme Commander, teach the upstart Earth a lesson in galactic humility." Martinez nodded, settling into Earth's designated seat. "Yes, I'm aware of the Corfac's theatrical declarations. They've always had a flair for the dramatic." High Counselor Zorthan slammed his ceremonial staff against the chamber floor, sending a thunderous boom echoing through the room. "This is not mere theater, Ambassador. The Corfac battle fleet includes 73 planet-killer-class dreadnoughts. We've confirmed they carry enough firepower to reduce Earth's surface to molten slag. This session was called because the Alliance must decide whether to intervene or maintain our non-interference protocols." At the Central Console, the Alliance Secretary General activated the main display. A 3-dimensional tactical map materialized above the chamber floor, showing the solar system and the massive Corfac fleet's position in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. Red indicators marked each warship, forming a cloud of crimson dots that seemed to blot out the stars behind them. "The Corfac fleet entered your system's asteroid belt at 1320 hours, the Secretary General explained, her voice clinically detached. "At their current velocity, they will reach Earth in approximately 6 hours. We've convened to determine the Alliance's response, though I must remind the Council that Earth, as a Level 3 civilization with limited interstellar capabilities, falls under our non-interference guidelines during external conflicts." Martinez set the coffee mug down on the small table beside Earth's seat. "There's no need for the Alliance to violate its non-interference protocols. We've handled the situation." A ripple of confused murmurs spread through the chamber. "Handled?" Zorthan repeated incredulously. "Ambassador, perhaps the isolation of your world has left you disconnected from reality. The Corfac Empire controls 17 systems. Their military might exceeds that of your entire planet by several orders of magnitude. What could you possibly mean by handled?" Martinez gestured toward the tactical display. "Secretary General, would you mind updating the fleet positions to real-time, please?" The Secretary General frowned but complied, inputting commands into her console. The holographic display flickered and refreshed. The cloud of red indicators remained in the asteroid belt. "I don't understand," she said. "There appears to be no change in—" Before she could finish her sentence, something happened on the display. The cloud of red indicators began to Dissolve. Not moving away, not retreating, but simply fading out of existence. In less than a minute, 47 seconds, to be precise, the entire Corfac fleet had vanished from the tactical display. The chamber fell into complete silence. What just happened? Tessara finally asked, her holographic form stepping closer to the display. Is this a malfunction? No malfunction, Martinez replied, reaching for the coffee mug again. As I said, we handled it. That's impossible, Zorthan whispered, his scales paling to a lighter shade of blue. 847 warships don't simply disappear. Actually, they didn't disappear, Martinez corrected. They were disassembled at the atomic level. If you adjust your sensors to detect particle dispersal patterns, you'll find an expanding cloud of primarily iron, titanium, and carbon particles spreading through the asteroid belt. The organic matter, the Corfac crews, was left intact in their environmental suits. Rescue operations should be able to retrieve approximately 96% of the personnel. We've already dispatched humanitarian vessels to assist. The chamber erupted into chaos. Delegates shouted questions. Others demanded explanations. Some simply stared at the display in horror. The Secretary General repeatedly struck her gavel against the podium, calling for order. Silence! Zorthan finally roared, his voice cutting through the din. When the chamber quieted, he fixed Martinez with an intense stare. Ambassador, you will explain precisely what happened to that fleet, and you will do so now. Martinez nodded, standing slowly. Of course. It's actually quite an interesting story that begins about 15 years ago. 15 years earlier, in a classified facility, 2 kilometers beneath the Rocky Mountains. Admiral Sarah Thompson stared at the 18 scientists and military officials seated around the conference table. The room was cold, deliberately so, to keep everyone alert during what would be a pivotal briefing. Operation Sleeping Monster is now officially active, she announced, sliding her palm over the security scanner. The screens around the room illuminated with schematics that none of them had ever seen before. What you're looking at is humanity's insurance policy. Dr. Elaine Wright, the lead quantum physicist, leaned forward. You actually built them, all 18,000 platforms? We did, Thompson confirmed. Disguised as space debris, communication satellites, and mining equipment. We've been deploying them for the past decade across the asteroid belt. Each platform contains what amounts to a localized field generator capable of disrupting atomic bonds within a specified radius. General Marcus Webb shook his head. The Alliance would consider this a direct violation of at least 7 treaties we've signed. Which is why they'll never know about it, Thompson replied coolly. Unless we're forced to use it. Back in the present. The council chamber remained utterly silent as Martinez explained the basics of the technology Earth had secretly developed and deployed. The ambassador carefully omitted certain technical details, while making it abundantly clear that the demonstration against the Corfac fleet represented only a fraction of Earth's defensive capabilities. You've been militarizing space while claiming to be a peaceful civilization, Zorthan finally said, his voice heavy with accusation. The Alliance admitted Earth under the premise that you would be transparent about your technological developments. We've been entirely transparent about our public technological developments, Martinez countered smoothly. Operation Sleeping Monster was a classified defensive system developed in response to intelligence that certain Alliance members— Here, the ambassador paused meaningfully, glancing toward the Taraxian delegation. We're considering Earth to be a resource-rich target for potential annexation. Several delegates shifted uncomfortably in their seats. The accusation wasn't entirely unfounded. Earth's abundant water, diverse biosphere, and valuable rare minerals had been discussed in more than a few closed committee meetings. This is outrageous, a representative from the hegemony of 7 Suns sputtered. You've deployed weapons of mass destruction throughout a shared space lane without notification. Not weapons of mass destruction, Martinez corrected. Precision defense systems that, as demonstrated, can neutralize military threats while preserving life. Had we wished to destroy the Corfac fleet and its crew entirely, we could have done so. The Secretary General finally regained her composure. Ambassador Martinez, the Council will need complete technical specifications of this technology immediately. Such power must be regulated under Alliance oversight. Martinez smiled politely. I'm afraid that won't be possible. Secretary General, the technology remains classified under Earth's sovereign security protocols. You can't simply refuse a direct request from this Council, Zorthan thundered. Actually, we can, Martinez replied. Article 47 of the Alliance Charter specifically protects Level 3 civilizations' right to maintain sovereign defense systems within their home system, provided they don't pose an offensive threat to other Alliance members. Our system is defensive, contained within our solar system, and as demonstrated, preserves life even while neutralizing military threats. As the Council chamber descended into heated debate, a different kind of meeting was taking place aboard the orbital command station Molir, hovering in geosynchronous orbit above Earth's North Pacific. General Marcus Webb stared at the holographic display showing the expanding cloud of metallic particles that had once been the most formidable invasion fleet in the quadrant. His weathered face showed no emotion, but the tension in his shoulders betrayed his unease. 47 seconds, he murmured. From active warships to constituent atoms in 47 seconds. Admiral Sarah Thompson, now gray-haired, but still ramrod straight in her posture, nodded. The system performed better than our simulations predicted. The selective preservation protocols worked perfectly. The Corfac crew members are all intact, though I imagine they're rather confused about now. And scared, added Fleet Commander Olivia Wright, Dr. Elaine Wright's daughter, and the tactical officer who had given the final authorization to activate the sleeping monster platforms. We just turned their invincible armada into dust while leaving them floating in space in their pressure suits. Scared is good, Webb said quietly. That's the point of this whole exercise. Thompson raised an eyebrow. Exercise? 847 ships weren't sent as an exercise. Marcus, the Corfac meant to obliterate us to establish their dominance in this sector. Our intelligence confirmed they planned to harvest Earth's resources afterward. I know, Webb sighed, but now we've revealed our greatest defensive asset. The question becomes, what happens next? Thompson's expression hardened. What happens next is what we've been planning for 5 years. Martinez is already implementing Phase 2 in the Council chamber. Back on Navarra Prime, the Galactic Council's emergency session had been running for 4 hours. The initial shock had given way to a flurry of diplomatic maneuvering as various factions attempted to position themselves in response to Earth's unexpected display of power. The Taraxian Confederation had formally proposed sanctions against Earth for treaty violations. The Meraki Union had submitted a request for technical assistance, transparently hoping to gain insight into the technology. 3 smaller systems had already sent private communications to Earth's delegation offering alliance treaties. And perhaps most tellingly, the representatives from the Helix Ascendancy, a spiritual collective of 6 worlds, had approached Martinez during a recess to ask if Earth would consider accepting devotees, apparently having decided that any civilization with such godlike power deserved worship. Martinez had politely declined the latter offer. As the session reconvened, the Secretary General called for order. This council must reach a consensus on how to respond to today's events. The Corfac Empire's representatives have been notified and will arrive within 2 days to address their act of aggression. However, we must first determine our position regarding Earth's defensive response. Zorthan rose from his seat. Let us speak plainly. Earth has revealed itself to possess technology far beyond what should be available to a Level 3 civilization. This technology threatens the very foundation of interstellar security. No single world should wield such power unilaterally. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. "High Counselor," Martinez replied, standing to address the assembly. "With respect, Earth did not seek this confrontation. We were targeted for annihilation by the Corfac Empire. Our response was proportional and designed specifically to minimize loss of life." "The issue isn't your response to the Corfac," interjected Delegate Tessara. "It's the fact that you developed and deployed this technology in secret, without Alliance oversight." Martinez spread her hands in a conciliatory gesture. "Earth understands the Council's concerns, which is why I am authorized to present a proposal that I believe will address them." The ambassador activated a small device, and a holographic document appeared in the air above the central podium. "This is the Galactic Peace and Security Initiative," Martinez explained. "Earth proposes to formally acknowledge its defensive capabilities and accept certain responsibilities within the Alliance framework." "What kind of responsibilities?" the Secretary-General asked cautiously. "Earth will establish a Galactic Security Council, with representatives from all major Alliance factions. This council will oversee the use of our defensive technology, establishing protocols for when and how it can be deployed. In exchange, Earth will be recognized as the Alliance's central security authority, with the mandate to protect Alliance worlds from military aggression." The chamber erupted again, but this time with a mixture of outrage and interest. "You're proposing to become the Alliance's military arm?" Zorthan asked incredulously. "We're proposing to share the protection our technology offers," Martinez corrected. "Under carefully negotiated terms and with proper oversight. The alternative is for Earth to simply maintain this technology independently, using it at our sole discretion." The unspoken threat hung in the air. After witnessing what had happened to the Corfac fleet, no one in the chamber doubted Earth's ability to defend itself against any force in the galaxy. The question now was whether that power would be integrated into the Alliance or remain outside its control. "This proposal requires careful consideration," the Secretary-General finally said. "The Council will need time to review the details and consult with their governments." Martinez nodded agreeably. "Of course. Earth understands this is a significant decision. We're prepared to give the Council 1 hour to review the proposal before calling for a preliminary vote." "1 hour?" Zorthan sputtered. "That's absurd. Interstellar policy changes of this magnitude typically require months of deliberation." "Under normal circumstances, I would agree," Martinez replied. "But as today has demonstrated, we are not operating under normal circumstances. The Corfac Empire will likely respond to today's events with escalation. Other powers may see this as an opportunity to test Earth's resolve or capabilities. The galaxy's security landscape has fundamentally changed in the past 4 hours. Our proposal offers stability in this new reality." The Secretary-General studied Martinez for a long moment before nodding slowly. "The Council will recess for 1 hour to review Earth's proposal. We will reconvene for discussion and a preliminary vote at that time." As delegates filed out of the chamber, many casting wary glances toward the Earth ambassador, Martinez remained seated, calmly finishing what had now become cold coffee. In the observation gallery above the council chamber, 2 figures watched the proceedings with intense interest. They wore the neutral gray uniforms of Alliance administrative staff, but their true affiliations lay elsewhere. "It's playing out exactly as Thompson predicted," murmured the woman, her eyes never leaving Martinez. Her companion nodded. "Revealing the sleeping monster to save Earth, while simultaneously using it to position us as the Alliance's security backbone. I still can't believe the Council is buying it." "They're not buying it," the woman replied. "They're accepting the inevitable. No one wants to end up like the Corfac fleet." Below, in the chamber, Martinez activated a secure communication device, connecting directly to the command center on the Moliere station. "Phase 2 initiated," the ambassador reported quietly. The Council is reviewing the proposal now. Admiral Thompson's voice came through clearly, despite being transmitted across 17 light-years. Any significant resistance? Nothing we didn't anticipate, Martinez replied. The Taraxians are the most vocal opponents, as expected. Several smaller systems are already positioning themselves as early supporters. And the Secretary General? Playing it neutral, but I sense she's leaning our way. She understands the practical implications better than most. Good, Thompson said. Remember, we need at least 70% support on the preliminary vote to maintain momentum. Anything less, and we'll need to implement contingency protocols. Martinez glanced around the empty chamber. Let's hope that won't be necessary. The demonstration was convincing enough. It should be, Thompson agreed. Seeing is believing, after all. And they all saw 847 warships turn to dust in 47 seconds. The communication ended, and Martinez sat back, waiting for the Council to return and for the next phase of Earth's long-planned ascension to begin. Exactly 1 hour later, the Council reconvened. The chamber's atmosphere had changed subtly. The initial shock and outrage had been replaced by a tense, calculating energy as delegates whispered among themselves, forming alliances and negotiating positions. The Secretary General called the session to order. The Council will now hear statements regarding Earth's galactic peace and security initiative proposal. Each faction will have 3 minutes to present their position before we move to preliminary voting. Zorthan was the first to speak. The Taraxian scales had darkened to a deep navy blue, a sign of intense emotion among his species. The Taraxian Confederation categorically rejects this transparent power grab by Earth. While we acknowledge their right to defend their system, the technology they have deployed represents an unacceptable threat to galactic stability. No single world should wield such power, much less appoint themselves as the Alliance's security authority. Several delegates nodded in agreement, though noticeably fewer than when Zorthan had spoken earlier. Delegate Tessara spoke next, her holographic form shimmering as she addressed the Council. The Meraki Union has concerns about the development and deployment of this technology without proper oversight. However, we also recognize the practical reality that the technology exists and has been demonstrated effectively. Rather than opposing Earth's proposal outright, we suggest amendments that would provide greater transparency and shared control over deployment decisions. One by one, representatives presented their positions. A clear pattern emerged. The larger, more established powers expressed reservations or outright opposition, while smaller systems, particularly those with limited defensive capabilities of their own, voiced cautious support for Earth's initiative. When all scheduled statements had concluded, the Secretary General turned to Martinez. Ambassador, would Earth like to address the concerns raised before we proceed to voting? Martinez stood, surveying the chamber with a calm, measured gaze. Thank you, Secretary General. Earth acknowledges the concerns expressed by several distinguished delegates. The technology we've developed carries significant responsibility, a responsibility we do not take lightly. The ambassador paused, letting the words settle. Some have characterized our proposal as a power grab. I would suggest instead that it's a power share. Earth could have kept this technology completely secret, using it solely for our own protection. Instead, we've chosen to integrate it into the Alliance framework, subject to oversight and collaborative decision-making. Martinez walked slowly toward the central podium, commanding the attention of every being in the chamber. Consider the alternative. Without this proposal, Earth maintains this technology independently. We use it at our discretion, without consultation or oversight from this body. Is that truly preferable to the structured, collaborative approach we've proposed? The ambassador activated the holographic display once more, showing the expanding particle cloud that had once been the Corfac fleet. Today, we use this technology to prevent the destruction of our world. Tomorrow, it could prevent the destruction of yours. The Corfac Empire targeted Earth today, but history shows they rarely stop at one conquest. Who among you can say with certainty that you wouldn't be next? A hushed silence fell over the chamber as delegates contemplated this uncomfortable truth. The Corfac's expansionist tendencies were well documented. Earth extends its protection to all Alliance members who join this initiative. Those who choose to stand apart. Martinez, let the statement hang unfinished. The implication clear enough. The Secretary General cleared her throat. We will now proceed to preliminary voting on Earth's proposal. This vote will determine whether the Council moves forward with serious consideration of the initiative, with final terms to be negotiated over the coming weeks. One by one, delegates registered their votes. The massive display above the chamber tracked the results in real time, percentages shifting with each new input. When the final vote was tallied, the result glowed in large, blue numerals above the chamber. 73% in favor. Martinez allowed a small smile. 3% above the threshold needed for Phase 2 to proceed without contingencies. The Council has voted to move forward with consideration of Earth's proposal, the Secretary General announced. A special committee will be formed to negotiate final terms, with representatives from all major factions. We will reconvene in 14 standard days to review the committee's recommendations. As the session adjourned, delegates approached Martinez in a steady stream, some offering congratulations, others seeking private assurances, and a few delivering thinly veiled warnings. The Earth ambassador handled each interaction with diplomatic precision, making promises only where they aligned with Earth strategy and deflecting hostile overtures with practiced ease. In the midst of this diplomatic dance, Martinez received another secure communication from the Molière station. Preliminary vote secured. Thompson's voice came through. Phase 3 is a go. The contingency packages have been prepared for the 5 delegates who registered the strongest opposition. Understood, Martinez replied quietly, maintaining a pleasant expression for the benefit of anyone watching. Let's hope they won't be necessary. Hope for the best. Prepare for the worst, Thompson responded. That's how we got this far. The communication ended as a tall, willowy delegate from the Helix Ascendancy approached, practically vibrating with religious fervor. Ambassador, the delegate whispered, my people have already begun constructing a temple in honor of Earth's demonstrated power. We would be most honored if you would provide some relic or symbol we might enshrine as a focus of devotion. Martinez sighed internally while maintaining a diplomatic smile. That's very thoughtful, but Earth doesn't seek worship, only cooperation. Perhaps instead, your people might establish a cultural exchange program. We find understanding to be more valuable than veneration. The delegate seemed disappointed, but nodded respectfully before moving away. Becoming gods already? A familiar voice asked from behind. Martinez turned to find Zorthan standing there, his scales still dark with emotion. Not our intention, High Counselor, Martinez replied, though I'm not surprised some would interpret today's events through a religious lens. Zorthan leaned closer, lowering his voice. This won't end as you've planned. Ambassador, Earth has revealed its hand too early. There are forces in this galaxy that will not simply bow to your technological advantage. We're not asking anyone to bow, Martinez said evenly, only to cooperate in maintaining peace. Peace enforced at the molecular level is not peace at all, Zorthan hissed. It is subjugation dressed in diplomatic niceties. An interesting perspective, Martinez replied. Considering the Taraxian Confederation's own history of technological coercion during your expansion period, Zorthan's scales rippled with indignation. That was 3 centuries ago, under a different government entirely. And yet, the planets you subjugated remain under Taraxian control. Martinez observed. Sometimes, High Counselor, power redraws the boundaries of what is possible. The wise adapt to new realities. The foolish, well, they often end up like the Corfac fleet, particles dispersing through the void, The threat was not subtle. Zorthan stared at Martinez for a long moment before turning away without another word. Martinez watched him go, then glanced at the chronometer on the chamber wall. Exactly 14:22 hours, precisely 6 hours since the ambassador had first entered the chamber. In that time, the galaxy's power structure had been fundamentally altered. Aboard the Moliere station, Admiral Thompson reviewed the council session recordings with her senior staff. The command center hummed with activity as analysts processed diplomatic communications and intelligence reports streaming in from across the Alliance. 73%, she announced, shutting down the display. Phase 2 complete, Phase 3 initiated. Well done, everyone. General Webb didn't join in the subdued celebration. His expression remained troubled as he studied the tactical display showing the rescue operations in the asteroid belt. Thousands of Corfac crew members, confused and traumatized, were being retrieved from the debris field that had once been their mighty fleet. "Something on your mind, Marcus?" Thompson asked, noting his detachment. Webb looked up. "We're crossing a line here. Sarah, defending Earth is one thing. Leveraging that defense into galactic authority is another entirely." "The line was crossed the moment the Corfac deployed their fleet," Thompson replied. "This was always the plan. Reveal our capabilities only when forced to, then immediately position ourselves as the indispensable security partner for the Alliance." "And if they don't accept our partnership?" Webb challenged. Thompson's expression hardened. "Then we implement the contingency protocols. The 5 most vocal opposition delegates will experience unfortunate technical malfunctions during their return journeys. Nothing fatal, just concerning enough to remind them of the stakes." "Sabotage and intimidation," Webb said quietly. "Is that who we are now?" "We're survivors," Thompson replied sharply. 15 years ago, when we first detected quantum communications from the Alliance worlds, we had a choice: wait passively to be discovered or prepare for the inevitable. Every historical example of a technologically superior civilization encountering a less advanced one has ended the same way, with subjugation of the latter. She gestured to the display showing Earth, peaceful and blue against the blackness of space. Everything we've done, the sleeping monster platforms, the diplomatic maneuvering, even today's demonstration, has been to ensure humanity controls its own destiny. If that requires some morally ambiguous decisions, then so be it. Fleet Commander Wright joined them, datapad in hand. "Admiral, we're receiving requests for private communications from 27 Alliance worlds. Most are smaller systems offering bilateral security agreements outside the Alliance framework." Thompson nodded. "As expected. Forward them to Martinez with priority flags on any from systems with strategic resources or positions." "And the Corfac survivors?" Wright asked. "Standard humanitarian protocols," Thompson replied. "Medical attention, basic necessities, and restricted communication access. Once they're stabilized, we'll return them to Corfac space with a clear message about the consequences of further aggression." Webb shook his head. "They won't forget this humiliation. We've made an enemy today." "We didn't make an enemy," Thompson corrected. "We revealed one. The Corfac were already moving against us. The difference is, now they'll do so with fear rather than contempt." The Admiral turned to address the entire command staff. "What happens in the next 14 days will determine humanity's place in the galaxy for centuries to come. The Alliance Council is negotiating the terms of our security initiative, but the real work happens here and in 1,000 other facilities across Earth. We must be prepared for every contingency, from full acceptance to outright rejection." She paused, making eye contact with each senior officer. "Some of you have moral reservations about our methods. I respect that. But remember what's at stake. Not just our lives, but the future of our species. History won't remember our ethical quandaries. It will remember whether humanity survived and thrived in a galaxy that has swallowed countless civilizations before us. The command center fell silent, each person contemplating the weight of their actions and the uncertain future stretching before them. 2 days later, as Earth's diplomatic team continued their work at the Alliance headquarters, an unexpected transmission reached the Molière station. It came not from Navarra Prime, but from deep space, using an encoded quantum frequency that only a handful of systems had mastered. Admiral Thompson personally received the transmission in her private office. The holographic figure that materialized before her desk was unfamiliar, a tall, insectoid being with compound eyes and iridescent exoskeleton. "Admiral Thompson," the being said, its translator converting clicking mandibles into smooth, accentless standard. "I am Architect Klovac of the Consortium. We have been observing your recent demonstration with great interest." Thompson maintained a neutral expression, though internally her mind raced. The Consortium was little more than a rumor among Alliance intelligence, a shadowy collective of ancient civilizations that operated beyond Alliance borders, supposedly possessing technology far beyond even the most advanced Alliance worlds. "I wasn't aware the Consortium took an interest in Alliance affairs," Thompson replied carefully. The insectoid's mandibles clicked in what might have been amusement. "We take interest in potential paradigm shifts. Your molecular disassembly technology represents such a shift. If you're monitoring Alliance communications, you know we've already proposed a framework for its use," Thompson said. "Yes, your Galactic Peace and Security Initiative," Klovac responded. "A clever political maneuver. However, we wonder if you truly understand the implications of the technology you've deployed." Thompson's eyes narrowed. "What do you mean?" "Your platforms disrupt atomic bonds within a specified radius," the architect explained. "A powerful defensive capability, certainly, but have you considered its application beyond military vessels? Planetary crusts, for instance, stellar material, the fabric of space-time itself." A chill ran down Thompson's spine. "Our research focused on defensive applications only." "All technology evolves beyond its creator's intentions," Klovac said. "The Consortium has experienced similar evolutionary paths many times over our long history. We've learned that such power requires perspective." "Are you threatening Earth?" Thompson asked bluntly. The insectoid's compound eyes shimmered. "Not at all, Admiral. We're offering context. You stand at a crossroads that countless civilizations have faced before. Some chose dominance and eventually collapsed under the weight of their own ambition. Others chose partnership and transcended their limitations. And the Consortium recommends the latter, I presume." "We don't presume to recommend anything," Klovac replied. "Merely to observe that the path you choose now will echo through millennia. The alliance you seek to protect, or control, is young in galactic terms. There are older principles at work in the universe." Thompson leaned forward. "Why contact us now? Why not before we revealed our capabilities?" "Because capability and wisdom are different measurements," the architect said. "We needed to see how you would use your power once revealed. Disassembling warships while preserving life was noteworthy." Before Thompson could respond, Klovac continued. "We will be watching with interest, Admiral. The coming days will reveal much about Earth's character and destiny. Choose wisely." The hologram flickered and vanished, leaving Thompson alone with troubling thoughts. She immediately called for a secure channel to Navarra Prime. When Martinez's face appeared on the communication screen, Thompson didn't waste time on pleasantries. "We've been contacted by the Consortium." The ambassador's expression revealed nothing, but Martinez's posture stiffened slightly. "What did they want?" "To deliver a cryptic warning about the path we're choosing," Thompson replied. "I think we've attracted attention beyond the Alliance now." Martinez considered this information carefully. "Does this change our strategy?" Thompson was silent for a moment. I don't know. The architect hinted at applications of our technology that we haven't even considered. If they're right, then the sleeping monster might be more powerful than we realized. Martinez finished the thought. Which makes our position stronger. Or more dangerous, Thompson countered. The consortium seems to operate on a different level than the Alliance. They talked about principles that have existed for millennia. I can't shake the feeling that we've stepped into a game whose rules we don't fully understand. Martinez nodded slowly. I'll accelerate the negotiations here. The sooner we secure our position within the Alliance framework, the better positioned we'll be to deal with external factors. Agreed, Thompson said. But proceed with caution. If the consortium is watching, others might be too. The communication ended, leaving both leaders to contemplate a galactic chessboard that had suddenly expanded beyond their original calculations. On Navara Prime, the special committee formed to negotiate the terms of Earth's security initiative had been working around the clock. Delegates from 17 key Alliance factions participated, each bringing their own concerns and demands to the table. Martinez led Earth's negotiating team with the same calm efficiency that had characterized the ambassador's approach from the beginning. Where other delegates grew frustrated or exhausted, Martinez remained unflappable, guiding discussions toward Earth's preferred outcomes while appearing to make reasonable concessions. By the 10th day, a framework had emerged that largely preserved Earth's original proposal while incorporating enough Alliance oversight to satisfy most moderate factions. The technology would remain under Earth's physical control, but deployment decisions would require approval from a newly established Security Council consisting of 7 permanent members and 4 rotating positions. As the committee prepared its recommendations for the full council vote, Martinez met privately with the Secretary General in her official residence overlooking Navara Prime's capital city. The curved windows offered a panoramic view of the gleaming metropolis below, where representatives from 300 worlds conducted the business of the Alliance. You've navigated these negotiations skillfully, Ambassador, the Secretary General observed, pouring a deep purple liquid into 2 crystal glasses. I admit, I underestimated Earth's diplomatic capabilities almost as much as its technological ones. Martinez accepted the offered drink with a polite nod. Earth has always valued diplomacy, Secretary General, even when preparing for less diplomatic contingencies. Yes, your sleeping monster, she replied, taking a seat opposite Martinez. An apt name for something so quietly devastating. I've been wondering, how long has Earth possessed this capability? The platforms have been in place for several years, Martinez admitted. The technology itself has been in development for longer. The Secretary General studied Martinez carefully. And you never considered informing the Alliance, even confidentially? Would you have, in our position, Martinez countered, a relatively young civilization, newly admitted to an alliance of worlds centuries more advanced? We needed insurance until we understood the galactic landscape better. And now that landscape has shifted dramatically, with Earth at its center, the Secretary General noted. Some would call that opportunistic. Martinez shrugged slightly. Others might call it strategic foresight. The Corfac forced our hand, revealing capabilities we would have preferred to keep in reserve. Once revealed, we had to move quickly to establish a framework that served both Earth's interests and the greater stability of the Alliance. And the timing of the Corfac attack? The Secretary General asked. Some delegates have quietly suggested it was remarkably convenient for Earth's emergence as a power broker. Martinez's expression didn't change, but a new sharpness entered the ambassador's eyes. Are you implying Earth somehow engineered an attack on our own system? Secretary General? That would be an extraordinary claim. Not engineering, she clarified. Perhaps anticipating. Intelligence reports suggest the Corfac had been planning their move against Earth for months. Your response came with remarkable speed and preparation. We monitor our system boundaries carefully, Martinez replied, and we believe in being prepared for all contingencies. The Secretary General nodded slowly, taking a sip of her drink. The committee's recommendations will go before the full council tomorrow. Current projections suggest they will pass with approximately 82% support. Higher than expected, Martinez observed. Yes, she agreed. Interestingly, several delegates who were initially opposed have become quite enthusiastic supporters in recent days. The representatives from the Taraxian Confederation, for instance, experienced some sort of technical malfunction on their transport vessel. Upon their return, they seemed much more receptive to Earth's proposal. The accusation hung in the air between them, unspoken but clear. Martinez met her gaze evenly. Space travel can be unpredictable. I'm pleased they returned safely, and with a fresh perspective. For a long moment, the Secretary General said nothing, merely studying Earth's ambassador with calculating eyes. Finally, she set down her glass. I've served the Alliance for 27 years. Ambassador, I've witnessed power shifts, technological breakthroughs, and diplomatic revolutions. What Earth has accomplished in the past 2 weeks is unprecedented in Alliance history. You've rewritten the security paradigm of 300 worlds in less time than it typically takes to negotiate a minor trade agreement. She leaned forward slightly. I have one question. What is Earth's true goal? Not the official position, not the diplomatic language of mutual security and cooperation. What does Earth actually want from the galaxy? Martinez considered the question for a moment before answering. To survive, to thrive, to ensure that humanity's future isn't determined by the whims of older, more established powers. We've studied Earth's own history. Secretary General. When civilizations with technological advantages encounter those without, the results are rarely favorable for the latter. So this is preemptive self-defense on a galactic scale? She asked. In essence, Martinez confirmed. Though we genuinely believe our proposal benefits the entire Alliance. Peace through strength isn't a new concept, but it's an effective one when properly applied. The Secretary General nodded slowly. I believe you're sincere, Ambassador. But power, once obtained, has a way of expanding its own objectives. Today, Earth seeks security. Tomorrow remains unwritten. Martinez finished for her. But Earth understands that sustainable power requires restraint and legitimacy. That's why we've sought integration with alliance structures rather than operating independently. A wise approach, she acknowledged. I will support the committee's recommendations tomorrow, not because I trust Earth completely, but because I believe the proposed framework provides necessary checks while acknowledging the new reality. As Martinez left the meeting, the ambassador sent a brief, encrypted message to Admiral Thompson. Final vote tomorrow. 82% projected support. Secretary General on board, though wary. The reply came moments later. Phase 3 nearly complete. Contingency protocol standing down. Consortium monitoring confirmed but inactive. Proceed as planned. The following day, the Alliance Council convened for what would become a historic session. The chamber was filled beyond capacity, with delegates from even the smallest Alliance worlds attending to witness the vote that would reshape galactic security protocols. The Secretary General called the session to order with uncharacteristic solemnity. Today, the Council votes on the recommendations of the Special Committee regarding Earth's Galactic Peace and Security Initiative. Before we proceed to voting, Ambassador Martinez has requested a brief statement. Martinez approached the central podium, surveying the assembled delegates with quiet confidence. Distinguished representatives of the Alliance, 2 weeks ago, Earth faced an existential threat. Our response to that threat revealed capabilities that have, understandably, raised questions and concerns throughout the galaxy. The ambassador paused, allowing the words to resonate through the chamber. The proposal before you today represents more than a security framework. It represents a choice about the kind of galaxy we wish to inhabit. One where technological power is used responsibly, within established protocols, for the benefit of all Alliance worlds. Earth could have chosen isolation, developing and deploying our technology without oversight or integration. Instead, we've chosen partnership. Martinez gestured to the holographic display of the proposed framework floating above the chamber. This framework preserves the sovereign rights of all Alliance members while establishing clear guidelines for the deployment of advanced defensive technologies. It creates mechanisms for collective decision-making, transparent oversight, and equitable protection. Most importantly, it transforms a technology that could divide us into a shield that unites us. The ambassador looked around the chamber, making eye contact with key delegates. The recent attack on Earth won't be the last crisis our Alliance faces. Threats exist both within and beyond our known borders. How we respond to those threats, together or divided, will determine the future of our civilizations. Earth offers its technology not as a means of control, but as a foundation for lasting security and peace. Martinez stepped back from the podium, returning to Earth's designated seat as the Secretary General called for the vote to begin. One by one, delegates registered their positions. The massive display tracked the results in real time, percentages shifting with each input. When the final vote was tallied, the result glowed in large, blue numerals above the chamber. 94% in favor. Higher than even their most optimistic projections. The Secretary General's voice carried throughout the chamber as she officially announced the result. The Council has approved the Galactic Peace and Security Initiative with a vote of 94% in favor. This framework will take effect immediately, establishing Earth as the Alliance's central security authority, subject to the oversight provisions detailed in the agreement. She paused, looking directly at Martinez. This represents a historic shift in Alliance security doctrine. May it lead to the peace and stability we all seek. As the session concluded, Martinez received a final communication from Admiral Thompson. The message contained only 3 words: Phase 3 complete. The ambassador pocketed the communication device and prepared to navigate the throng of delegates now approaching to offer congratulations, seek assurances, or simply position themselves favorably with the Alliance's new security authority. Zorthan was among them. His scales now a pale, almost white-blue, a sign of submission in Taraxian culture. "Ambassador Martinez," he said, his once booming voice now subdued. "The Taraxian Confederation looks forward to close cooperation with Earth's security apparatus. We believe our extensive military experience could prove valuable to the new Security Council." "Thank you, High Counselor," Martinez replied evenly. "We welcome Taraxia's expertise and support." As Zorthan moved away, the Meraki representative approached. "Masterfully done, Ambassador," Tessara said quietly. "Though I can't help wondering what happens to those who oppose Earth now that the framework is established." Martinez smiled diplomatically. "The same thing that happens to anyone who operates within the Alliance. Delegate Tessara. They enjoy the protections and responsibilities outlined in our charter. Earth has no interest in punishing dissent, only in preventing aggression." "A reassuring answer," Tessara replied, though her holographic eyes remained skeptical. "We shall see if actions match words in the coming months." One by one, Martinez received the delegates, building relationships that would form the foundation of Earth's new role in galactic affairs. Throughout it all, the ambassador maintained the same calm, confident demeanor that had characterized Earth's approach from the beginning. Hours later, as the diplomatic reception concluded, Martinez finally returned to Earth's embassy on Navarra Prime. The ambassador's private office offered a rare moment of solitude after days of intense negotiations. Martinez activated the secure communication system, connecting directly to the command center on the Molière station. Admiral Thompson's face appeared on the screen, lines of exhaustion visible despite the triumph in her eyes. "94%," Thompson said. "Even our most optimistic models projected 85 at best. How did you manage it?" Martinez smiled slightly. "It seems our contingency protocols were more effective than anticipated. The 5 delegates who experienced technical difficulties became our most enthusiastic supporters. Their influence swayed many of the undecided factions." "And the Secretary General?" "She suspects our methods but recognizes the new reality," Martinez replied. "She is practical enough to work within the framework rather than against it." Thompson nodded, satisfaction evident in her expression. "Then it's done. Earth is now officially the Galactic Security Authority, with our technology recognized and legitimized under Alliance law. Phase 3 complete," Martinez confirmed. "Though I suspect our work is just beginning." "Indeed," Thompson agreed. "The consortium's interest suggests we've entered a larger game than we initially anticipated, and the Corfac will undoubtedly seek revenge, albeit more cautiously now." "Let them try," Martinez said, a hint of steel entering the ambassador's voice. 847 ships to dust in 47 seconds. That message will resonate for generations." Thompson's expression grew serious. "What about Webb? He's been increasingly vocal about his ethical concerns." "General Webb will adjust to the new reality," Martinez replied confidently. "He may not agree with all our methods, but he understands the necessity of our position. If not, there are contingency protocols for internal dissent as well." Thompson nodded grimly. "Let's hope it doesn't come to that. We need unity now more than ever." After the communication ended, Martinez walked to the window, looking out at the gleaming cityscape of Navarra Prime. Somewhere out there, representatives from 300 worlds were coming to terms with the new galactic order, one with Earth at its center. The ambassador smiled faintly, remembering the coffee mug from 2 weeks ago, a small symbol of calm amid chaos, hiding the months of preparation and strategy that had led to this moment. In the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, the expanding cloud of particles continued to disperse. What had once been a mighty invasion fleet was now nothing more than atoms drifting through the void, a fitting metaphor for the old power structure that Earth had so efficiently disassembled. 47 seconds had changed everything, and this was only the beginning.